Yeah, hi Mika. I'm very happy to have you here today. And I think we spoke last week. A little intro to get warm. We met once on a fair. I don't know that I don't think you can remember, but I think it was at the Automatica at your booth. And it was very interesting. And yeah, I'm very happy that you said yes to our little podcast today. And yeah, I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, pleasure. And thank you for inviting me on this podcast, Ilir. And yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, give a short intro, where you born, where you were born, and uh, yeah, walk us a little bit through the upbringing of you.
So I'm originally from Finland, born and sort of a early childhood in central Finland, near Jyväskylä. There's a town called Jämsä, like that's where I'm from, and a lot of my ancestors are from. And sort of early childhood there. So my dad is like an engineer and also like a farmer. So he worked at the local paper mill as a maintenance engineer and sort of like then run like a family farm. So like he's been building and I've been like sort of very early stage when I was like sort of a good I've been kind of like doing farm work, and that's like sort of we don't have like animals, but it's like crop farming. So there's a lot of like fixing machines, and then like my father like actually designs his own machines, like in a way like builds them up, like does fem analysis on the some new like agricultural machine, and it's like a lot of like welding, tinkering. Something's always broken. Something like the worst thing like you might don't want to have is like if you it's like farming is about this like seasons, like there's like um in like Germany and like Southern Europe, like you have like 2 seasons, but like Finland is often like just 1 season. So you
Mm.
have like very intensive like a springtime when you need to sow the crops, put everything in the ground, and then sort of the harvest time is very intensive. Like so, it's like you basically need to go like without sleep, like sort of few hours sleep, and then you need to be all that. And then if something breaks, it's going to be like it's like the if you put like something kind of like if you miss the opportunity to put the seeds in a right time, that just means like monetary loss at the other end, like if you miss that opportunity. And then it's really like about like the because I'm like a lot of thinking that like farming would be like the most how to say risk averse, sort of a most safest thing like to do on the planet, but it's actually not, because like it's like you are so much under the like the weather could be like anything, and like the yield could be anything, and then you have like the other sort of a I'd say like economic conditions, like you might have a war somewhere, and then the fertilizer prices are like super high and that kind of thing. So there's like a lot of that kind of dynamic. So it's very interesting place to grow up,
And that,
and work
sorry,
with like
sorry
this
for asking.
machinery. Yeah.
And that means the because you were saying the machinery, a lot of things your father was doing on his own and repairing and maintaining, and very often these are, and at least nowadays, are very huge machines also, and they're like very heavy. You were mentioning welding and soldering, but this is very mechanical, right? And uh, you was this something that your father was uh, so where did he, because doing this kind of thing is very specific, right? Is there something that he was taught? Is that something that he went to school for, or was it something that throughout his life, or maybe with his fathers or grandfathers, is there something that was taught to him? And yeah.
I think it's part of the attitude, like sort of like because it's something that like nobody will come and fix it for you, like so you need to do it yourself.
Hmm.
So that's I think that's the and like you can see the attitude, like for example in like if people go to how to say like remote places, like they need to have this, so like there's nobody coming and fixing that for you. Like there's no number you can call, and even if you call the maintenance guy number like springtime, like come and fix, like he has like 10 other things to fix, like he'll be like next week there, like so it's that kind of that kind of thing. But like yeah, my father was like I think he had a like mechanical engineering background, so like yeah, he could like sort of take a lot from that. And yeah, so one thing I forgot to say, like, so it's if something like like breaks in the middle of the thing, like it's just like everything stops. So it's kind of a yeah, and then you just like need to fix it. We had like this one situation that we had like sort of a filter for the diesel filter for the tractor, like that just broke, and then like trying to get the spare part, like, and so that's something that you can't actually make on your own. So like then you just can't move the tractor, and then like until you find that part, like so it's kind of like, I think that environment is very very good. Like it teaches like sort of a, like you have these like crisis situations where you just need to push forward like very hard.
So from an entrepreneurial mindset, this is something that you were surrounded very, very early on because you were seeing your father being an entrepreneur as a farmer. I mean, it's just a different kind of wording in the very end, but being responsible for everything and everybody, doing everything on your own. So this is then what makes an entrepreneur, right? And so when you grew up there, when was the moment that you decided to yeah, what was happening afterwards?
So maybe it would highlight like, so my mom is actually entrepreneur as well, like sort of like operating a small sort of a physiotherapy
Hmm.
place. So like she's done that since she basically graduated and like set up her own shop. Like
Mm.
so, I think it comes like in a way from both sides. But I've been like sort of a super into, and like I fantasize a lot like about like when I was like young, sort of about sci-fi, how the future could be like sci-fi and all that kind of, like I don't know why, but like it's been sort of a there's nothing wrong how like the world is, but like it's just like kind of like building something more cooler is like somehow it's the thing. And then I've like surrounded myself in a way like with a lot of like books like and science magazines, and like sort of devouring those things, uh, and then ended up like in university, like, and then sort of where I focused, I did like very multidisciplinary, and like that the Finland, like the university is like much more, I'd say, like relaxed or open than it is in Germany. So you can pick like a lot of different topics. Like you can pick like, and like it was like a open like buffet for me. Like in a way
Hmm.
that like I could pick, like I studied like for me like chemistry to sort of a making like chips in a clean room to like yeah, physics, computer science, and sort of like
Mm.
biomedical things. That was like basically my degree. Like, but like you could pick like so many different things and like sort of like try to understand from different sides like how the world works. So I think that was like super cool and very grateful for that. I think that might be like good for some individuals, but like some individuals like it's like it would be it's good to have like more just like because it's very hard to like bring it together and then sort of
I mean,
analyze and graduate.
as you said, there's two sides to it, right? If you're having a very strict path in university or a very strict curriculum, then you can become very specialized very early on, and then you can go much deeper into some topics, and the knowledge is more specific, a bit more in depth versus the other version is much broader, and that could be a little bit overwhelming for some people. But on the other side, it gives you, because you're so young, right? What do I want to do for the rest of my life? And now here I have, like you said, a buffet, and instead of we go to a pizza shop and then there's 10, 15 different kind of pizzas. Here you have not only pizza, but you have everything that a buffet is offering, right? And then having the opportunity to really uh, dip at least into the different kind of fields. Maybe you find something that you weren't aware that it was existing before, and here's a path, and you get in contact with, as you said, multidisciplinary, where you talk to not only physicists, but people in computer science and chemistry. So there's so many different fields. I can understand that um, this might be a little bit too much, but on the other side, if you have the years before entering university, if you already have this kind of curiosity, then it would be yeah, much more beneficial. So when you finish the degree, did you already know what you wanted to do? Because very often some people have an idea but are not really sure. How was it for you?
Yeah, so for I think it was like very like even like before like going to so I studied a sort of computational and cognitive biosciences, meaning, and then that degree was infused with a lot of biomedical and sort of like a lot of the kind of like the dream, or like what I was like, and like doing like a lot of that biomedical, like sort of how to augment human and like sort of that like brain interfaces and that like super interesting
Hmm.
stuff, which I like did some thesis work as well. I did also like in a way like a double degree, like on a commercial side, because like very interested in that as well, like economics and finance
Hmm.
degree. But on the engineering degree side, kind of like I think yeah, there's like a lot of ideas and like sort of this kind of things. So ended up like sort of doing a startup like this in the university actually. So like very early years of university, and then like the idea was like I like a lot of like stuff on the idea list, and then just picking like something, and ultimately it was like about making a quick buck and in a way, and then finding a good idea and like sort of executing that. Um, but then so we end up doing like this very beautiful smoke alarms, and then this. But then I thought like we could do that like in a few years or like 1 year and then sell it. But it took like 3 years to get it to market and then sell it. But like then when we got it to market, like the twist there was like they were like design smoke alarms, so they were like beautiful, and there's like a message in a way that like like a smoke alarm that is like ugly, like people want to hide it, but like if it's very nice, good looking, like you can have it like in a nice place, and it becomes like a topic of discussion in a way.
Hmm.
So we got that like we got like hired a sort of famous Finnish designers to do the design, and then went uh, to China like to get it manufactured and sort of and then it was certified here in UK, and we got it finally to market, and then it was like a nice success. So then due to that, like my university studies sort of like it took me longer than usual, because I was like trying to finalize those two degrees, and then like I had a company as well.
And
So
did you
yeah,
guys, sorry.
yeah, sorry.
So did you guys, as you said, so this is a spin-off of a university idea, right? And as you said, with most entrepreneurial journeys, it takes much longer than anticipated. It's much more complex than anticipated. It's much harder than anticipated. But you were able to finish the degree and brought the product to market. So what happened? So is that something that you now you're finished with the degree and now you have a company? What happened then? Did you decide to sell it? Did you decide to do something different? What was that?
Yeah, the product got like out to the market before my degrees, and then like or before I finalized, and then we run that. But like then, so we had like a little bit like we were a team of four, and we had like disagreements like where to take the company in a way, and we separated. So kind of That's the but like the company is still going, and then I think I probably sold like over million of smoke alarms
Mm.
like around the world so far. From the time when I left, it was like 500,000 stage already, and then I basically went sort of like been very interested in like machine learning, like sort of, and done that in the studies, and then I kind of like realized I can like focus that on my studies, and then I went like basically back to university and focused on that, finalized like the full set of degrees in a year, and kind of I knew that I want to do something next. However, like the idea wasn't like fully formed, like and then I there was like opportunity to join, which is a this startup accelerator called EF, and I joined that in in London. So that was like 2015, which is like they give a little bit of money and then you can get to work on your idea.
And did you move to the UK before to finish
I know,
your?
like I moved to UK for that EF program, and then that's basically how Cambrian got started in a way. But it was
Mm.
like quite a different, like in the beginning, that what it is at the moment and what it is now. So
But is the idea of Cambrian did that started still in Finland because you finished your degree in Finland?
yeah, so I finished the degree in Finland and then I moved to UK, and then so I was like in that kind of place that in a way, so I was, there is like another startup that got started as well, but like I was part of the team and not the sort of, but like maybe like a catalyst to start it. Um, and but yeah, I was in a place where sort of I finalized my degree and then could, like I knew that if I'm going to stay in Helsinki region, like sort of a few years longer, then I'll be settling here, like probably like the rest of the like next decade. I spent like some time there already, and then so it was a great opportunity to move on, and then having started like two companies in Finland, sort of a although like nowadays like you can born more global, but in some industries and sometimes like being on the how to say in a more bigger market is helpful if you work on a niche and then you get access to there's a small connections to work against and so on. Like not true in some cases, not it's possible to do that, like also from like if you it's possible to do like a big startup from Tuvalu for example, but like I think it's much easier and then you add like some chances like to yourself if you work on a big market, and like just like thinking of on the back on the smoke alarm, because like we did that in Finland for example, and smoke alarms like locally certified for the local laws and regulations. But
Mhm.
like had we had like the same success we had like in Finland, in US, like the numbers would have been like so much bigger, the business would have been like so much bigger, or in Germany for example, like it's like a whole different like playing field in a way.
So you
So
guys, sorry.
yeah, so that was like the other reason, like so I knew like I wanted to start like something else, and then like just being exposed to a bigger market was very interesting.
So you're now in the UK or in London area for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Hmm. And so when you said you moved then to the UK for this accelerator, and how big was the team back then when you started the journey?
Sorry, what about the team?
How big was the team?
So like entrepreneur like first works this way that so you could be like a solo founder, or like you can like they often team up two people together. Which is actually interesting. Is like I've done like a lot of thinking because like if you check like a lot of like successful companies, you either have like one like a solo founder or two founders, but very seldomly like teams that have like more founders, like
Mhm.
then there's more like breaking points in a way. Um, like a more politics might get to happen in that team. But so yeah, so we started like there was myself and then um, current co-founder back then. So there was actually like few. Uh, so the few team members. I iterated the idea like first, and the idea was like more to do a um, the um, so the AI and the robotics is like pretty much that like a lot of things uh, already run on AI, and that was very naive thinking. But like I thought like that's sort of solved, and then like in manufacturing, like the vision, for example, that's already solved. They don't have any problems. They can see where the parts are, like all of that thing. So I wasn't like checking too closely into that field, and was thinking like sort of a wanted to create this a um, like for a more complex task like this sort of a that people could like VR operate, teleoperate robots, remote controlled robots. So somebody could like, like on a Upwork, you can like hire freelancers. So you could hire like somebody to teleoperate and like maybe do some work in somewhere with a teleoperated robot. Like so that was the idea. We started look into the teleoperation kind of opportunity, and then we very soon we were discussing with like UK's nuclear decommissioning plants, or sort of like the Sellafield and likes, because during the nuclear era there's like a lot of waste that was created because the programs and at that time there was no, I'd say, nobody taught like too much how to clean it up, like, and like how to manage that, like, so there's like a lot of waste there that needs to be cleaned up, like here in UK and also like somewhere else in the world, like for example US has sites where they have like similar problems, and it's also like disassembling old nuclear power plants. So that's like was sort of a something we looked with the Cambrian doing like the teleoperation. So we did like a little bit like work on that, but like very quickly realized. I also like actually it was like sort of a at the um, Y Combinator interviews 2000, yeah, it was like 2016, and then they really, I think it was like really great advice as well. They said like this market is so slow, like there's no room for grow a rapid like growth startup, and then it hit very hard because like then yeah, I thought like it was kind of like got like intertwined into exciting technology and that kind of thing. Um,
But it was a bit too early, right? Because when you were now talking about something that was in 2015, because today when you open Twitter, I mean, if you're interested in this kind of niche, you're surrounded by all those new startups, teleoperating, and you see those humanoid companies that are using teleoperating, some of them disclosing, some of them not. But what you were talking about is almost 10 years ago, right? And
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
use
That's
cases was totally different, and seeing that you were actually a little bit too early, so to speak, because not too many humanoid companies out there. There's not too many reasons why you should have teleoperating in the first place. What would you like to teleoperate, right? So there's now when we're talking about robots or robot arms, especially the access to it. Cobots were 2015, yes, but not in an environment like this, I would guess. So very interesting. Maybe you can, because what I was missing a little bit was were you guys looking for a problem to solve, or had you? Because there's always the do I have a problem that I solve that I solve? So now I'm building the tech to solve the problem, or do I have a technology and now I'm looking for a problem to be solved? So how was that for you guys?
So we Cambrian really sort of like then yeah like back like realizing the nuclear decommissioning is not the right market like so then we discussed with a local robotics distributors automation companies and like just went and meet them and like what's kind of like what problems and challenges they have and like how we can help sort of with AI, how we can help with AI to automate like some of these tasks or like bring that in and like is there any problems or challenges they might have. And then it was interesting because like then they were like, hey, can you pick this, can you assemble this, like I have this but like I can't pick this, like there's 2D vision but like this is 3D bin picking type of thing. And then um, yeah, so there was like a lot of these cases in a way, and we kind of like and yeah in 2016 entered also like with some automotive companies like sort of a proof of concept
Hmm.
demonstrations like on this using AI. Yeah, it was already like very big word like back then, like it was like sort of like kind of like growing, but like sort of a POCs like how we can use AI with the robot arm to do like some challenging tasks like just like 3D picking and that kind of thing.
And what kind of robot were you guys using back then?
Um, so we had like a Kuka KR6. Like the first robot we actually had like was Stoipli, like some older Stoipli, and then we used like in the nuclear because like we've used like some KR, uh, like KR C2 like controller era Kuka like big robot arms. We've actually teleoperated
Hmm.
like large KR200s like moving things. It's I've actually crashed one into a customer's wall like sort of a little bit but like but then like sort of like rapid forwarding like so then yeah Kuka KR6 and then sort of a also at some point like universal robots like cobots in a way, but like it depends. And then some customers, one customer actually loaned us like a Yumi robot, so that was like super cool. We got to work with that, and we got like a robot. Like I think like for early stage robotics startups, I was discussing with like one entrepreneur in the field yesterday, and then because he had like this a sort of like low cost open source robot at home, and then it's like very there's like a still like a barrier of entry like on a hardware, like you need to be like it's not easy to buy like a 10K 20K robot, and we've like all the robots like kind of like what we have now, like some are like sort of second hand robot like used robots like that, just cheaper like sort of, and then you need to be very economically conscious about that.
You were just mentioning the open source project. So you were talking to an entrepreneur, you said yesterday, and so this person is working with the with an open source robot and is trying to apply it his own AI.
Sorry, like some open source libraries, but like and then building on top of that, but like commercial robot, but like sort of these low cost robots that are like quite exciting, and um, I think it's something interesting that we are looking. And then some manufacturers are open for that. Like some have asked, some are not. Like some are like that if uh, could bring them like, hey, here's 2K, 2,000, 3,000 robot arm. We can do something with that. Like not as fast, it might break, but then like there's the risk that like how often they would need to then it's just like it's just replace. But do you replace like every month or like every
Mm-hmm.
half a month? But then if you buy like sort of a existing from an existing player, like sort of proper industrial robot like or cobot, like then you can be certain that it runs like for a few years, like many years, sort of a continuous heavy production.
When you entered the manufacturing business, so to speak, still being a young startup with a very edgy technology, AI is now a big hype word, and everyone wants to have it. But there's also the big expectation when it comes to AI? How is it for you guys to get in contact? You were talking about POCs. How was it for you guys to get your first customers or talking to them? What kind of what kind of situation or obstacles were you coming across when you started getting in contact with these kind of customers? I'm asking this because the expectations are very high, right? And the reliability is very high. The precision needs to be very high. And how was it for you? How was it for you when you entered this kind of
That's
arena?
I think that's why it's taken like quite some time to get. It's like we're talking years, like sort of a 2016, 2017, 18, when we sort of like went in and started like sort of this some of these POCs kept the lights on, and like sort of we were able to build the product against those like the KPIs that they require from us in a way. So it
Mm,
is like yeah, we work with like innovation departments or like very early
mm,
experimenters of the system. And how do
mm,
we got in? Like I think leveraging like investor networks in a way. They were like maybe a manufacturer has a venture arm, and then the venture arm introduces us to a like local factory, and then we get to talk with the engineers, and then they see value in that, and then we kind of like so that was like few of our connections were open like that way. But the thing is that like it's kind of like because the production KPIs like they're like just so strict. It's kind of like if you have, and then it's so easy to build something that like works, you know, like 80%, 70, 90% time, but like then there's a long way, like long tail problems, like sort of a to get it that like you fail only one part in 1,000 or like one in 10,000, and like hunting down, you know, like then the bugs and the problems, because like the occurrence of the fail might not happen very often, so it's it becomes like ever more increasing in a way. But like in manufacturing there is like a lot of different how to say levels of like requirements. There are like for example with cycle time there's like a lot of room, like some tasks are like, you know, that you need to deliver the part like in less than 2 seconds or something like that, and then you have like some tasks like where it's like even like 1 minute per part might be okay, because like maybe they just want to leave the robot on and the robot prepares something and so on. So there's like a lot of these. What I'm trying to say is that there is no single template that this is it, these are the KPIs, but it's always very blended situation. And then the underlying business as well. Is it like against, you know, like is it a labor cost? Is it like a labor shortage? Is it a quality issue? Sometimes you want to have like a robot to do things because like the human arm might shake, like some welding stuff or something like this. And then you have the, is it one shift, 3 shifts? Is it in Poland? Is it in Switzerland? Or is it in Mexico? Like, you know, that kind of thing. So there's like different levels, and it's very, very dynamic.
You were mentioning a few things now, and I really like that you are already giving some examples here. Because for everyone who is interested in this AI, robotics, and manufacturing space, having the technical solution is one thing, right? But being able to really solve the tasks that people are willing to pay for is a different one. Because willing to pay for means you're solving a problem that is so high that that I'm willing to pay for it. And now when we're entering this game, especially as a lot of tasks had been automated already, and now you're trying to squeeze out or trying to find solutions for those applications that had not been able to automate, very often manual labor, right? With humanoids, that is still a long way down the road, but now, and humanoid doesn't make sense in every single scenario, just in a very in a few. And now trying to find out how can I apply my solution. And now you're leaving the lab, you're leaving the own idea, and now you're entering a reality. And now you're facing someone who is a shop floor manager, a plant manager. In fact, so not only the engineers, but as you said, the commercial part as well. I mean, there's the requirements that I do need to fulfill, but then how costly is it to fulfill them, right? And here I think a lot of startups are struggling with showing what kind of value they bring. And because they struggle, because sometimes it's not a turnkey solution, it's just a part of a bigger solution. It's very hard to say, if you buy my product, then your revenue will increase, or your quality will go up, or your cycle time will go down. So it's very hard to show this ROI, right? Because that makes it easier to people believe in you, and going this very long road, as you said, 85%, 88% is very easy to achieve, but then the last 8, 7, 10, 12% are very, very hard to achieve. And here you do need to have someone who is not a customer, but who is a partner, who really believes and says, okay, I know there will be a lot of going back and forth with the engineers. We test, it doesn't work. We test, it doesn't work, right? But there, you do need someone believing in the idea to really go through that entire mile to reach the 99.999%, which sometimes, not every time, sometimes are a basic requirement to be eligible, to be able to be chosen in the factory, right? And was that something that was surprising for you, that this is so, like, you have this technology in your head. You said this is great, right? It works, and I can show you in a demo. But then people says, whoa, 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 whoa! It looks nice in the demo. It looks nice in the POC, but now we're talking about reality. Was this reality, or hit with reality? Was that big for you, or had you been prepared by this before
No,
somehow?
I think it's I think there's like a little bit, had I known that like sort of beforehand, like it would have been like very discouraging. And then sort of realizing because like in the manufacturing, you just need to think that you would be the engineer in a, let's say, like some fancy automotive OEM, and you're like the aspiring engineer, you want to build a carrier there, you are tasked to design like some automation task or any other factory. So you want to be like very conservative, like you can't be, because these projects are long, you will need to pitch the money like from a factory management, or the factory management said like, hey, can you automate this? And then you said like, then you plan it, and then I think this is the solution. And then so anything that's like a hacky, or like something that like somebody else in the some meeting like might be able to raise that, hey, like that that's very experimental, are you sure that will fly? You know, like, so you want to build like everything conservative, like using blocks that are proven, or maybe you have those blocks in already working in the manufacturers, that there are like these forces working against everything that's like new. uh, there are like some individuals who are like sort of they see the value, and they like sort of wanting to experiment, so you need to find like kind of in that, like those individuals in the company, and try to support them as much as you can, kind of like that they have like because it's inside of the other company, it's also a sales process, like
Mm.
it is a, it's the sales doesn't stop there that you sell it to them, but like then they need to sell it and get the budget. It's like, think of like typical like a robot sale, it's like 100k 200k type of installation. So there's no single company that like a factory level engineer, automation engineer, can like sign off those that kind of money themselves. That's like never, like in nowhere. So it's always like a budget approval budget, like it's like a project, you know. And then this is kind of like, I don't know how to change that, but like then that's the reality of that. I think like one way, like at the Cambrian, like how we thinking of that is like sort of a how we can like program the robots, how we can like you can program not a human being in 2 seconds, pick those parts and place them there, or like few seconds, and then it's people understand and can do it, but like putting like some similar task like a robot, and even with like AI and kind of like all the safety equipment and so on, like it's a project like that takes like weeks uh, to months, and then in some cases in like automotive plants it's like years, like the planning phases for new so it's very slow. So how we can like, you know, from months and like squeeze it down to a few seconds, like I think that will sort of a rapidly sort of unlock value that then the manufacturers could use, because like you could like just if you can integrate like so fast, like you could just like put it to do production there, like and then you can prove it like very. But if it's a project that needs to be done like in many months, like then a lot of stakeholders need to be involved, like there's so much gravity that like you can it's hard to get it off the ground.
You said something very cool, and that is the finding those people, right? And this is important, especially in a startup where you have limited resources. Sometimes it takes a while to really understand. Not everyone who is interested is really interested, and not everyone who is interested is capable. And as you said, you need to find the right people, and that means you need to find the right customers. And thinking more about who is the right customers and how to approach them saves a lot of time and money and effort. Because if you think, okay, this is a huge corporate here, there's so much potential, so much volume I can get here into production, but the reality is then it's if there is so much potential, then it's, as you said, so many shareholders, so many I think you said gravity towards different kind of people, and really having someone who is fighting for you and your ideas. So, as you said, selling the idea within their own company, I think this is very, very crucial. And I think here either the lack of understanding, the lack of experience, the lack of network and connection is a very crucial part that most startups are not being able to bring their product into production. So if you made the sale nice, but the real sale starts. So the expansion within a customer starts when the product is deployed. And this deploying, you said you're trying to squeeze this, you're trying to make it as fast and easy as possible. And I think this is something that a lot of the tech startup founders are underestimating. It's a good product and it solves the problem, but it's just part of a bigger puzzle. And the other pieces are just as important. And the deployment is a very big topic here. So thanks for sharing here this point of view, because I think this is something that is so underrated and people are not paying attention to it because they're so focused on solving the problem. Uh,
Yeah, it's I think it's so easy to, because like it depends like what kind of founder people are. Also like so you could be like a commercial founder interested in money, like making the money, and then that's
mm,
or you might be excited about the technology like
mm.
that, or you might be a people person that like you want to work on the human connection in a way. Uh, so there's like these different like approaches, and then this kind of like affects this situation.
And is that something that you guys learned along the way, or is that something because you were mentioning earlier, um, it was one thing led to another, as you said, you got introduced to a local factory, for example. This is something that can take a while, and if you don't have the connection, might be a little bit hard. So, do you think really focusing on those parts is very crucial and essential?
Um, yes and no, because like I think you don't need in the early phase. If you need to recognize, are you still in the, do you have like yet a scalable product or product market fit? If
Mm,
not, like then you need to work with maybe with somebody in the industry that might help, like with few of different companies, and then they might help to develop the product until you get to that level that it's something that you can deploy fast and scalable. And like we are still like working on that. Like we have like what we call like death by thousand, because there's like smaller sort of a missing features or like these kind of things that would make life easier, but like since like you might have like few of these missing, then the whole journey to like to install or to play with the product is like longer in a way. But I think there are like alternative like manufacturing. I think trade fairs are like actually like you said, like we met at the trade fair. Like I think they are like great place and where the engineers go and visit like and find new technologies. So like I got like one very early sort of a engineer that like worked for a local automotive here in UK and now has an integrated company. But I met him like in the first time at the trade fair, and then we like started and now they've sold like, for example, installed a few Cambrian systems already. But like sort of a very long relationship, but kind of there's many ways to get to that, yeah.
And it's I mean, exposing the own product, even it might not be 100% perfect, as you said, for example, on a fair, where people expect a lot of things, have a lot of questions. Uh, was the product in a phase where it was so good that it was already being presentable, or did you guys seek those kind of opportunities, for example, like a fair or an exhibition, to come to get people, because people are talking and they ask questions, and if you're really listening and if you take notes, then you can better understand what is actually out there, what is the need, right? If you have a booth somewhere and then people are coming and asking questions, and if you're really thinking this through and taking notes, then you can leave the fair maybe not with a single customer, but with a bunch of questions that can have a heavy influence in the product. Is that something that you did intentionally, or how was that for you guys?
I think it's like, yeah, a little bit like organically, but like in the beginning, like, yeah, maybe I'm truly like 100%, like you say, you just need to expose the product as much as you can, because otherwise you can't get feedback. And then interesting thing actually, like when we show like Cambrian, like, we show like picking like small parts, and then, or like some type of part, then people might ask like, can it pick also this part that is very similar to that, like, that kind of things that like might be very obvious to us, but like then it might not be very obvious to a sort of a somebody from the industry, or like it's hard to get the community, because like the people who work on the technos and build the techno is like, it's you kind of like understand everything of that, and then but the communication like to outside, like some things are like very obvious to you, but like then they might not be for somebody who just like happens to see it. But yeah, I think like you just need to discuss with a lot of people, and then like find out like what kind of problems they have, and then see if you can fit your solution to those problems. And then I think it's like art, because in the beginning you need to say more yes, and as the company grow, like then you need to say, like, for example, we get requested quite a lot, like, can we do like a surface level quality inspection, and then that's like no for us, because like that's not our core, and we don't want to go too far away like from our focus. It might be at some day we do that, but like not now, like then it would be too much like distraction. But you need to expose, like sort of discuss and find out like what is the problem they have, and then kind of enter. And sadly, it's like, I think it is like in the beginning it's important to have this yes, because like then even if it's not ideal case, if you have like a limited set of cases or customers you can go to, like then if they have like something for you, you might want to start working together with them to deliver something that might be a little bit out from your core, but like then kind of that you see that there is a path towards back to the core and selling what you want to sell to them. Because then if you say sort of like, no, I'm not interested, it might be like then it's hard to get back to the relation again. Yeah.
Thanks for giving
But
some insight.
yeah,
So,
I'm not like, yeah, it's just like my opinion on that. Like, I don't know, like if there might be like good counter examples on that, but yeah.
I mean, to focus on something that you're good at, I think is always a good idea. And I think a lot of startups struggling, especially if they're funded, you do need to come up with some numbers in sales, right? In deployment. And then you're asking yourself, oh, especially sales guys, then they come back and says, oh, I have a customer here. If the product would be able to do this and ABC, then they would buy this. And then you think, should I develop this? But this takes like 3 weeks and like two people full time. and then I develop this, but how often do I do this until, and for how many sales guys or sales opportunities do I do this, right? And then you're ending up in doing 8 things at once, and instead of doing just one thing at once, and then doing it in terms of doing things parallel, just doing it sequentially. So you're doing this first, I got this. I do this first, then I got this. And do you think that the fear of missing out a sold unit is something that brings startups in a situation where they're trying to dilute the solution, to make too many features and trying to solve too many problems at once? Do you think this is something that could lead to this?
Yeah, certainly yes. I mean, like if like if you like running out of money and then there is or like you want to get the sales numbers up, like then you just want to, like it's just like you want to grab every opportunity you have, but like then it might come at the cost that like to deliver those opportunities, like then that's also a hard thing to do. But I see like different founders because like some founders are actually very good at like sort of saying no, and then some are like sort of like just all over the place, like in a way. And I guess but those like who go all over the place, like then they might discover something. Like it's, I think at the very meta level, there is always that like exploration problem, like and like how to apply and sort of like do you focus on the current few customers you have, exploit them, bad word, but like then, or do you like explore and find new opportunities? Like it's that's I think that's fascinating. Like
It's a decision that needs to be made, right? It's a decision that needs to be made. Is that a customer that can be strategically valuable for me because he has the long, he's playing the long game and he knows my product is just at 88 or 85 or 92, and he will stick with me until it's 100%, and then I have one single solution that works that I can then sell? Or is it someone who has the volume? So some customers that can potentially buy 20 units, 50 units, right? So and here I do need to play the long game. That takes a while because ownership is not clear, too many stakeholders not clear. But you see, if I will be able to go through all those obstacles and challenges, then there might be the value, the volume, right? And I think this can be very tricky because as you said this earlier, even 100K, 200K, there's not a single person that just can say yes, right? It needs to be someone who will be very powerful, or who is so much in charge. But in corporate, you can't see it in corporate. There's rules and laws. You do need to have two other people or two other companies that offer similar product in purchasing, for example. The purchasing department is requiring this. So really looking for this big deal early on might be something that is just an illusion and just a carrot in front of you. Like if you develop this kind of feature, then I will buy 20 units, then I will buy 30 units. So I think, yeah.
yeah, it's also like I think that's true, and then I think to realize that like what is the customer pain point, like if you're in a, like as a consumer, if you're in a pain and then somebody's offering you the medicine that like takes the pain away, it's like really good sell, like in a way that it's a surefire, like there's a demand for this, and then it's kind of thing. But like if you offering something that takes like 5% of the pain away, like it's not so interesting. And then there's like a lot of, I'd say, products that like, or startups that like try to do this in the beginning, so then it's not, how to say, when you go to the customers, so like you don't get like the full attention in a way, like it's not something that it's on top of their plate. So kind of like you need to have that, like that the value you give needs to be like, it's like a key needs to fit into the lock, like in a way. And after you have that, like then you should have like it's then the technology and the product itself needs to work for that use case, right? If it's a new technology product. So like you have these different stages, I think.
It's a nice walk through the mind of a founder and CEO of a company, and that is doing AI AI robotics in the very end. And so what is planned for you guys? Do you have anything that you would like to show or that you can share?
It's just like to automate everything like that. That's what we're building, and that's like so exciting, like to build and like every day kind of like to work against those problems.
Hmm.
And I really see like a future where sort of so we have like this making matter program of what that means is that like you can from your terminal say like sudo copy skyscraper and then give the coordinate destination, and then robots could copy the skyscraper across. That's like the future we want to build, like sort of because that as a tool is like so tremendously powerful for everybody, whatever is the hardware and the what kind of like AI models work on the background, and like that's engineering challenge, but like then that's kind of the vision we are building for. I'm very excited to be part of that. But like first of like that's the near that's like will take many 10 years and decades to get there, but like then first is like solving like low hanging fruit problems, like just delivering like super robust picking assembly, and that's with the vision, and then like increasing also like the skills, like making the setup time of the robot and the hardware like just faster, and then like increasing the skills that the robot can do. Like for example, what we're working quite heavily now is cable wire handling technology, and how to solve those problems.
Uh, You said that you left Finland not only because of bigger markets and a good opportunity, a good environment for you to build this company. Um, After a certain, because we were not talking in decades, do you think there will be a decade coming, maybe not today, but maybe in the future, where you think would be nice to go back and to see um, what can I don't know, maybe give back to the entrepreneurial world in Finland? Is there anything you have in mind when it comes to this kind of discussion?
Oh yeah, I'm like sort of connected, and like yeah, I miss a lot of things in Finland, and like yeah, especially the cold in the winter times. That's like funny, but like yes, I do. Um, no, absolutely. Like that's something like I've been thinking, and kind of um, like Nordic countries, like sort of Finland, Sweden, where we have like some customers. Like it's actually very interesting places for robotics, because like they are like a you don't have like a lot of a workforce available. Workforce might be is expensive, so it's a prime place to test automation in that sense, and like sort of a bring up like these new projects in a way. And then the culture is like in a way like a little bit experimental in a way. Like there are, I would say like Germany versus like Sweden or Finland is like much more conservative than
Hmm. Hmm.
Finland and Sweden, like trying new things, especially in automation.
Yeah, I mean, I know the German market pretty well, and when we're looking at Europe and how China and the US is really making big steps further away and bypassing the technology advantages that Europe once had. Interesting to see. I'm very thankful that you took some time out of your schedule and walked me through your life, but also through the entrepreneurial mindset that is behind your company or you guys, and giving also the insights and the struggles and the things that you are facing when you're building a company in the deep tech scene, right? Niche and um, I really like the approach in getting feedback, testing with the customer together. So those all are very valuable tips, I think. So very thankful for that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for inviting me to this. And then like sort of it's final like with Cambrian, like what we're building is like really
Hmm.
uh, like due to our amazing team and sort of like all the people I get to work with. So like it's a lot of credit to them as well. And if I can be any help to anybody like on these topics, like just get in touch.
Yeah, thanks. You were very open to having this conversation. Looking forward to see you guys, not only on fairs, might be in London next year. Are you in central London, London area? Where are you guys?
Yeah, central London is our London office, but we have also a site in Augsburg or Königsbrunn to be exact
This
near
is much
Munich.
nearer to me where I live now.
Yeah, and we recently opened our US office as well, but we'll be at the Automatica next year.
Let's see. I'm very thankful that you said yes. I wish you guys all the best and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Ilir.
Take care. Bye bye.